Fear is irrelevant. It's information telling you not to walk there, but to try something else.
That's advice for anyone.
It is.
These 4 teens are troubleshooting their robot. They're prepping for the state championship.
We finally got them to work fully.
Older students mentor the younger ones. Mateo has been coming here since he was 7.
An iconic experience because it's usually very noisy around. There are many programs going on at the same time, so you can kind of get an experience of everything, even if you're only working on one thing.
What do you get out of this?
I get my students, watching them develop, watching them change, watching them learn, watching them become something they couldn't become if Capital Center Box did not exist. That's the best part of this organization, for me, is to watch these kids grow and become awesome.
It's not failure, it's data. What a good lesson. If you have a story that you want to share on the good side, you can email us at news@localnewslive.com or head us up on Facebook at Local News Live. We love bringing out your good side. Thanks for joining me this hour on Local News Live Weekend. The news continues now on localnewslive.com and your LNL app. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to Ozarks Today, the weekend edition. I'm Adam Woodbury. Firefighters and the National Weather Service are issuing a strict warning. Do not burn anything this weekend. The dry air mixed with the low humidity and the ongoing drought are a recipe for disaster. Brush fires can easily get out of control, and the Logan-Rogersville Fire Protection District says responding to those takes a lot of time and resources.
Is more workload stress for us due to the fact that, resources, especially the time of day that it happens. A lot of your surrounding areas that we respond to, mutual aid and so forth, they rely a lot of times on volunteers, especially in the departments.
And this weekend had a fiery start at the Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, take a look at this. Fire crews rushed to battle these flames at 3 homes on the northwest side of Bagnell Dam. Connor Trett spoke with the Lake Ozark Fire Chief about the challenges with battling this blaze.
A witness shared this view of bright orange flames visible from the water of the Lake of the Ozarks. From the water is also where fire crews got help to battle the blaze.
The fireboat is a great asset. That helped us out a lot. We did have to do a water shuttle with tankers to get water back here. So we were resource limited from the beginning until we got the rest of our mutual aid partners here.
Lake Ozark Fire Protection District's Fire Chief Jerome Blomberg shares that the flames spread quickly, destroying 3 homes.
There's 3 what I would call vacation homes, and then there is 1 detached outbuilding.
County Road W15C is off the beaten path and doesn't have hydrants, which added to the challenges. We actually spoke with residents earlier in the day, and they said that when they saw the active scene, they saw a tunnel of smoke. And they pointed out this one area here on the east side of the road, and that singed black area there just on the opposite side. They say that's where they saw the fire jump over the road and catch fire on the opposite side. Now, we spoke to the Lake Ozark Fire Chief about this, and he said that while crews were on the scene, fighting the fires in the homes was just as important as making sure it didn't spread further.
With the extent of damage, we were really worried about protecting what we would call an exposure, or the other houses that weren't involved yet. And once we had the exposures protected, we then move in and start to extinguish the rest of the fire.
2 power poles also affected by the blaze, leaving people in the area without power or water, since they also use electric wells. Ameren responded quickly to the scene, working to get the lights and water turned back on. No one was reported home at the times, and nobody was hurt. And now the State Fire Marshal's office is investigating what sparked the flames. In Lake Ozark, Connor Trett, KY3 News.
And it's going to be a hot start to your weekend. Garrett Hamilton has more now on what could be another record-breaking day of heat for us. Good morning, Garrett.
Good morning, Adam. Our air conditioners today going to be working overtime as record-smashing heat settles in for the Ozarks. But this is a live look at conditions atop the KY3 tower camera. We are pointed east along West Sunshine Street. Beautiful pastels, no doubt, this morning in the sky. But as we go throughout the rest of the day, mostly sunny skies, lending itself to a UV index of 6 this afternoon, which is overall fairly high, which means you can get a sunburn in as little as 30 to 35 minutes. So as you're headed out today, not only pack the water, but also make sure you have the sunglasses and the sunscreen and limit the time outside. I know a lot of people are going to be headed out on those waterways. And as you are headed out the door this morning, it is going to be a hot one. 76 at 11 and 90 degrees today for the afternoon high temperature. Again, hot and sunny conditions out there. 90 for Springfield, 92 for Branson, 91 for Harrison, and 91 for Mountain Home. We'll talk about how long the heat sticks around coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Garrett. Today, you're invited to a rally in Branson to learn more about Trey's Law. It passed last year and is aimed at protecting survivors of child sexual abuse silenced by non-disclosure agreements. It was named after a victim of abuse for years at Kanakuk camps in Branson. His abuser has since been convicted and sentenced, but due to an NDA, Trey could not pursue legal action against the camp for its role in the abuse. He later died by suicide, which led to his sister pushing for the creation of Trey's Law. Today's rally aims to show support and teach others about the more important parts of the issue. It starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon in Branson at the corner of Green Mountain Drive and historic Highway 165 near the Ozark Hills Winery and the Shell gas station. Trey's Law is now being considered by lawmakers in Washington, D.C. Well, it looks like a date has been set for the next process in selecting the new U.S. Marshal for Missouri. Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott has been nominated for the job by President Trump. The Senate Committee on the Judiciary has scheduled a nomination hearing for Wednesday morning at 10:15. Arnott must be confirmed by the U.S. Senate before he officially leaves the sheriff's office. If confirmed, he'd be the marshal for the Western District of Missouri for 4 years. In the meantime, the Greene County Commission is now searching for an interim sheriff. It has already received one application and set up a website where you can see firsthand who's showing interest in becoming the next law enforcement leader. The deadline for applications is April 15th. Federal funding delays could lead to the City of Springfield employees losing their jobs. The city announced on Friday that 11 positions in the Workforce Development Division are on the line. It's the result of federal grants ending before new grant opportunities are available. Several programs within the Missouri Job Center are at risk of losing more than $20 million in grants once they expire. This includes the Apprenticeship Building America and the Good Jobs Challenge. However, the city says services will not be impacted.
The Missouri Job Center will remain open and our core services will still operate. So we will still be providing those core services to our community long term.
If the funding is not resolved by July 6th, positions will be at risk of being laid off. Another 5 could be cut if the issues push into October. If you live in Mountain View and were hoping to take out the trash this morning, you'll have to reschedule. The city says its sanitation department, including the recycling center and city dump, will be closed today. It says that there's been an equipment breakdown. On today is the grand opening for the new pregnancy center in Marshfield. The Choices Pregnancy Center is a nonprofit group that aims to help pregnant women and their families. It offers ultrasounds, maternity resources and supplies, and education for women and men. It says all these services are free and confidential. To celebrate the opening, there will be a dedication service starting at 11 o'clock this morning at their new 10,000 square foot facility, followed by a lunch and guided tours. And here's something to help out pet owners on a budget. All Pet Supply and Equine Center is hosting a low-cost pet vaccine clinic today. The clinic will be this morning from 9 to noon at the West Kearney location. Vaccinations and microchips for dogs and cats are available, with vaccines costing $10 each. Microchipping is $25. Flea and tick baths are also offered. The prices range from $15 to $50 depending on the weight of the animal. All dogs must be leashed and cats must be secured in a carrier. The event is first come, first served. The precautions one Missouri city is taking to help minimize violence during March Madness games, plus potential legislation on how Missouri could increase funding for the 988 crisis line when we come back. Missouri lawmakers are considering legislation that would create a 65-cent charge to phone bills in order to create more funding for the state's mental health hotline. According to the Missouri Department of Health, the 988 mental health hotline has seen a 136% call volume increase since May 2022, with more than 67,000 calls in 2024 to 95,000 in 2025. The 988 line currently receives funding from Missouri's general revenue, receiving more than $3 million for crisis response teams and equipment in 2025 and 2026. The 65-cent charge is to help increase resources for crisis response as the crisis line continues to be used more and more. As March Madness continues, larger cities are taking measures to keep people safe as larger crowds flood the downtown areas. With some cities like St. Louis, Russell Kinsel has more.
The curfew that began at 10 o'clock tonight is only temporary. It runs from tonight through Sunday night in the downtown and downtown west neighborhoods and runs from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. It's part of a larger effort to keep crowds in town for March Madness safe, and that also includes an increased police presence downtown. The curfew is in response to violent street takeovers that happened downtown and in several other locations. Those events involved hundreds of juveniles who were out without guardians last weekend. Throughout the weekend, extra officers are on the street and in the police department's real-time crime center monitoring cameras around the city. St. Louis police also getting help enforcing the curfew from St. Louis County Police and the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Shortly before the curfew took effect, police said they were getting good feedback about it and spoke about the number of unsupervised teens that were out and about.
There's probably more juveniles than what we were hoping for. We were hoping that parents would heed the warning to make sure that they know where their kids are, but those parents will soon face those consequences because they will be cited by our police department for the behavior of their children. They will be cited for breaking that curfew.
Juveniles that are picked up by police for violating the curfew will be taken to the police department's reunification center, where parents will be called to come pick up their children. And those parents could be cited for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. In downtown St. Louis, Russell Kinsel, First Alert 4.
As part of a celebration for Arbor Day, the Arkansas Department of Agriculture will be giving out free seedlings to residents. The 6th annual Free Tree Fridays event will continue over the next 5 weeks. Each person can claim up to 5 free seedlings, choosing from pecan, sycamore, overcup, oak, and Shumard oak trees. The free trees will be in Mountain Home on April 24th from 11 to 1. For a full list of dates and locations, visit KY3.com.
You know what? Great day to get out and maybe plant some trees. I know that technically we're not even close to our average last freeze, but this warm up has us feeling a lot like summer. I'll fill you in on everything you can expect coming up in just a few minutes.
And now, KY3 First Alert Weather.
Welcome back. We're starting to see the sunlight come up this morning, and Garrett, it looks a little bit hazy out there. In that, where's the shot at?
This is in Mountain Home,
down in
Arkansas. We do have a couple of prescribed burns today, so our air quality is suffering just a little bit, but otherwise it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day for us here in the Ozarks. Another live look at that absolutely gorgeous pastel sunrise this morning. Through the rest of the day, near record-setting or record-smashing heat expected for all of us. Tomorrow is going to be almost just as hot, a little bit breezier, and then there's also an elevated fire threat as well tomorrow during the afternoon. And then through most of next week, we are looking to run very warm and very dry. Headed out to Silver Dollar City today, pack the sunscreen, pack the water as well, because temperatures running at 91 degrees through 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 89 still at 6 o'clock in the evening under mostly sunny skies. The UV index today running around 6, so you can get a sunburn very, very quickly under all of this sunshine. Hour by hour, though, I do expect all of us to hit the 90s, especially along into the west of Highway 65, 92 for Joplin and 90 for Harrison, 87 degrees for West Plains and 89 for Houston as well. And then through the evening and overnight tonight, we drop to the mid-60s. Around 64 for Springfield and 66 as well for Branson, 69 for Harrison. And then highs tomorrow, again, once again, getting into the upper 80s to lower 90s, so getting very close to those record-setting numbers. Great weekend to get out and clean up your yard, but hold off on the planting because, again, we are not anywhere close to our average last freeze. However, no freeze in sight with these temperatures. We're likely going to break a record today in Springfield that has been in place for over 100 years at 88 degrees. Our record today for Harrison is 86, set back in 1997. 91 for Joplin, set back in 1907. The air today feeling very dry through the rest of the afternoon with dew points trending into the low to mid 60s, and then it's going to be even drier as we head into the day tomorrow. And that combined with winds out of the southwest at around 10 to 15 miles per hour, but occasionally gusting as high as 25 to 35 miles per hour means that our elevated fire threat is going to increase, no doubt. Today, not as high, but then watch what happens tomorrow as those winds ramp up out ahead of our next cold front. A lot higher. We're going to get very close to red flag warning territory tomorrow, which means don't burn outside for sure. Hold off on having the bonfire. In terms of the sky cover, lots of sunshine through the rest of the afternoon. Not really a whole lot to talk about on your Futurecast radar. Still lots of sunshine through tomorrow morning, and then as our cold front slides in late tomorrow afternoon and early evening, we'll see just a little bit of the cloud cover increase behind the front. Otherwise, just mostly sunny skies throughout most of the day on Monday. In the dry cold front, means that we're not going to see any rain chances Monday or Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday also look fairly dry and just as hot as today and tomorrow. 80 for Wednesday and 86 for Thursday. Mid-60s for Monday and Tuesday. But again, those mid-60s still running above normal for this time of year. And just to show you how little rain chances there are in and around the Ozarks, all of us going to see less than 1/10 of an inch of rain over the next 7 days, and lots of the Midwest going to be remaining completely dry over the next 7 days. But drawing your focus back to today, 89 for Missouri and 90 for northern Arkansas, and then your extended 7-day forecast, 86 Sunday, 66 for Monday, 66 for Tuesday. Or excuse me, 65 for Tuesday, 80 for Wednesday, 86 Thursday, and 70 for Friday.
All right, thanks, Garrett. Emergencies happen fast, so your savings should work harder. Next, why experts say a high-yield savings account can help you grow your fund faster. You can't predict the next time you'll blow a tire or your car will face or you might have a plumbing disaster. It's why emergency funds are so important. They are there for life's unexpected expenses. Rachel DePompa takes a look at why many experts advise you to put that money into a high savings account.
Move your money where it can grow. Most Americans tend to keep their money in the same bank account for years. Personal finance expert for Motley Fool Money, Joel O'Leary, says don't keep your emergency savings in the same regular checking account you use every single day.
Because you're going to be tempted to dip into them. And when you're always looking at like a larger balance, it can play mind tricks on you. So right now, high yield savings accounts are the best place. They're kind of a no-brainer. They're just like regular savings accounts, except high yield savings accounts pay a higher interest rate.
Just to give you an idea of what that looks like, some of the top online banks right now are offering high yield savings accounts with interest rates around 4% APY. That's a massive difference from the likely 0.01% that you will get from a simple savings account at a big bank.
The headline feature is getting a high interest rate because you want your money working as hard as it can for you. But that can vary a lot from bank to bank, so it's important to shop around. Monthly fees are a pet peeve of mine, so I always recommend working with a modern online bank that just doesn't charge any junk fees.
He says this simple move will have you earning real dollars in interest instead of just pennies. And he says it has the exact same safety as a regular savings account. Just make sure the account is FDIC insured, ensuring you don't lose your funds if the institution goes under, also providing peace of mind. With this watch in your wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Changes to oil sanctions on Iran as the conflict in the country continues, and threats against judges on nearly doubling in the past 5 years. What judges are doing now to keep them and their loved ones safe?
By Springfield Nissan Kia. KY3 News continues.
Good Saturday morning and welcome back. I'm Adam Woodbury. We have Decision 2026 coverage just months before the midterms. The Supreme Court is set to hear a case that argues counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day should be illegal. Stetson Miller is in D.C. and takes a closer look at what this issue could have as far as a nationwide impact goes.
On Monday, the Supreme Court will hear arguments in a case that could change how your mail-in ballot is handled after a challenge to a state law in Mississippi.
The nation's highest court is about to hear a major election case that could impact voting rules for millions of Americans in the 2026 elections and beyond.
The question is, if somebody mails in their ballot by Election Day, can the election officials still count it if they don't receive the ballot until after Election Day?
It comes after the Republican National Committee and others challenged a Mississippi state law that allows ballots to be counted 5 business days after Election Day, as long as they were postmarked by Election Day. The RNC argues that federal laws establish a single uniform day for federal elections and preempt the state law.
The fact is Election Day is Election Day, and the fact that some of these states want to count ballots for weeks after the Election Day has happened, we think that's in violation of the law.
If the committee prevails, then those grace periods for mail-in ballots could be upended in 14 states where they're allowed. And it may also benefit the GOP because of what the party has been saying about mail-in voting.
Over the last couple of election cycles, Democrats have been more likely to vote by mail-in ballot than Republicans because Donald Trump has constantly criticized the whole idea of mail-in balloting. So if that's true, then more of the ballots that would be disqualified would presumably be Democratic voters.
A ruling in the case is expected in late June or early July. In Washington, I'm Stetson Miller.
The Trump administration has temporarily removed the sanctions on an oil from Iran. The one-month waiver applies to 140 million barrels worth of oil that have been sitting on tankers. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says that's enough to satisfy global demand for about a day and a half. Iran has already been selling some of its oil to China, but the Trump administration's sanctions change will allow sales to Western countries. Selling this oil could help finance Iran's military during the ongoing conflict with the U.S. and Israel. But the U.S. Treasury Secretary argues existing sanctions on Iran may result in the country not being able to benefit from oil sales. Thousands more U.S. Marines and sailors are heading toward the Middle East as the war with Iran is about to enter its 4th week. The U.S. has 3 warships that have been deployed to the region. Ryan Hill spoke with a retired Marine intelligence officer who explains the role the warship may play.
This is the flight deck of the USS Boxer. It, along with 2 other U.S. Navy warships, are deploying from San Diego to the Middle East.
Well, the ship provides, basically it's like a mini aircraft carrier.
Al Kempfer is a retired Marines intelligence officer.
It also has a well deck. So what it can do is it can launch these vehicles. They're amphibious. We have a variety of amphibious vehicles that are on it. They can be launched directly into the water.
The Boxer's website explains the ship is designed to bring Marines and their equipment to shore on deployment and support them on their mission.
This allows rapid ship-to-shore movement back and forth, which means that it's not just putting the Marines, putting the force ashore, but it's how fast we can build up combat power ashore to push in and to go in and take more territory faster and quicker.
2,500 Marines from the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, which Kempfer calls a MEU, from Camp Pendleton are also being deployed. Last week, 2,200 Marines from 29 Palms were deployed to the region.
Obviously, it doubles the amount of ground force capability, but a MEU is a complete air-ground package. It comes with a composite squadron. They can do a variety of things, attack, airlift, a lot of different things. Very robust combat service support element, very capable command element with a lot of things that they can do.
I asked Kempfer, what message does this increase in assets in the Middle East send to the rest of the world amid this war with Iran?
Everybody's looking at what we're doing, and everybody's sitting there saying, well, I guess the U.S. is more engaged. It also increases the likelihood. Every country in the world is looking at this, particularly the Iranians are saying that the U.S. is likely going to take Iranian territory because we have the capability to do so.
A jury has found billionaire Elon Musk liable for misleading investors prior to his purchase of Twitter in 2022 for $44 billion. The jury deliberated for nearly 4 days before finding that Musk deliberately drove down the company's stocks. However, they also found that he did not intentionally scheme to mislead investors. It isn't clear exactly what amount in damages Musk will have to pay, but it is likely in the billions of dollars.
Obviously, it's an historic victory for investors of Twitter. It's a historic victory for the public markets who rely upon transparency. Elon tried to cut the rules, and it impacted investors. So today's verdict sends a message not just to Elon Musk, but to Wall Street. You got to be honest.
Current estimates of how Elon Musk's net worth is around $814 billion, but much of that currently is invested into Tesla shares. Federal judges say that there has been a dangerous rise in the amount of violent threats being made against them. This as President Donald Trump expresses criticism of the Supreme Court and other judges for ruling against the administration. Paula Reed has more on the precautions judges are now having to take as a result.
We apply the law. We aren't making political decisions.
Judges speaking candidly about the reality they face in the current political climate.
The person said, I know where you live and I know where your children go to school.
In a recent online forum, several shared some of the shocking threats they've faced.
I hope you lose your life by lunchtime, you worthless. The best way you could help America is to eat a bullet.
When the Supreme Court ruled against some of President Trump's tariffs last month, he immediately attacked the justices, including 2 he appointed.
They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth, the 2 of them.
Over the past 10 years, Trump has repeatedly attacked the bench.
This judge is giving us unfair rulings. Now I say why. I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family. We cannot allow a handful of communist, radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws. It's absolutely out of control.
His inflammatory statements have been followed by a surge of threats against judges appointed by both political parties. The U.S. Marshals report a record 564 threats against federal judges last year. That number has roughly doubled since 2021. The situation has become so dire that Chief Justice John Roberts has weighed in twice in Trump's second term, most recently just this week.
Judges around the country work very hard to get it right, and if they don't, their opinions are subject to criticism. But personally directed hostility is dangerous, and it's got to stop.
Judges are increasingly taking precautions. In his year-end report, the administrator for the federal courts wrote that about 80% of all sitting federal judges have requested the removal of personally identifiable information from the internet. About 3/4 of judges have enrolled in a program that provides up-to-date home intrusion detection systems. Nationally, 63 facilities are undergoing courthouse hardening projects. But the risk is now something that comes with the robe.
Unfortunately, it's sort of become the order of the day.
Judges were previously barred from speaking out about their concerns by the Judicial Code of Ethics, but that was changed last month to give them more leeway to discuss their concerns. An explosion reported at a greenhouse facility in Maryland last night. According to officials, several people were injured. The explosion happened at a local botanical center, causing a partial building collapse. Local law enforcement and fire crews responded to the scene. Several people were taken to the hospital Friday afternoon, with one person taken to a burn center with critical injuries. Now, this is all according to the fire and rescue responders. 2 others were taken to the hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. The local sheriff's office called the incident an industrial accident, but the cause is still being investigated. All individuals in the facility have been accounted for, and the scene has since been stabilized.
Two major systems have created a mess for the Hawaiian Islands this week, with some spots reporting over 5 feet of rain. And now one of the largest dams in the state is at risk of failure. Parts of Oahu have already experienced catastrophic flooding, and it is no more apparent than in the communities of Waialua and Halewa. Early Thursday morning, more than 4,000 people were told to evacuate from those towns as the failure of the Waialua Dam could make an already serious situation worse. Officials say the dam is working as designed. However, the spillway is too small and may not be able to handle the continuing deluge of rain. This could create stress on the dam, causing it to fail. As of Thursday morning, water was spilling over the top of it, and most of the state is still under a flood watch through Sunday evening.
All right, thank you, Garrett. Well, we're back with a look at the events happening around the Ozarks and your weather forecast right after this.
On KY3. And now, KY3 First Alert Weather.
All right, thanks for joining us and welcome back. It's going to be a hot one today, folks, so it might be a nice day to head out to the lake, I think.
I know, we're going to be smashing records left and right, and all of this heat and a little bit of humidity is helping all of those trees open up a little bit early. We have some moderate tree pollen sitting around 32, and while that doesn't initially sound too bad, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I hit the doorway and immediately started sneezing, also noticing some lower levels of mold pollen as well. So again, spring in full force today. Headed out the door to maybe go on a walk, take the dog out for a run. 57 degrees still at 8 o'clock this morning, so definitely no need for the light jacket. 63 by 9 o'clock, and then it's only uphill from there. I expect lots of us to be smashing records today. 90 for Springfield, 90 for Harrison, 92 for Joplin, and 89 for Houston. If we hit 90 in the city of Springfield today, that will be our second earliest 90-degree day on record. Temperatures tonight drop to the mid-60s, so not a bad evening to maybe pop the windows open and let some of that early spring spring air in. And then temperatures tomorrow running into the mid to upper 80s. Low 90s definitely not out of the question across northern Arkansas, but then a dry cold front pushes in. Again, today we're going to be breaking lots of records. Our record high was set back in 1997 for Harrison at 86 and 85 as well for West Plains, also in 1997. The air mass that's in place right now is overall fairly dry. Our dew points will be running into the mid 60s, so it will feel quite dry over the next couple of days. 86 for Sunday, 66 Monday, 65 Tuesday, low 80s return for Wednesday and for Thursday as well. There is a little bit of an elevated fire threat both today and tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Garrett. Today is day 2 of the Outdoor Expo at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. From 9 to 5 today, you can go experience some outdoor fun. The event says that there will be an outdoor goods trade show with more than 47,000 square feet dedicated to the vendors and exhibits. There will also be activities to participate in, like 3D archery tournament and the Show Me Big Bucker Antler scoring. Everyone, kids included, can also try their hand at the turkey calling contest. Entry is $5. And it's day 2 of 3 of the Carnival of Ink at the Springfield Expo Center. More than 250 tattoo artists and vendors from across the nation will be there to show off their talents. It's happening from noon to 10 tonight and tomorrow from noon to 8. Tickets are $20 and kids 12 and under are free, but they must be accompanied by an adult. Also today, it's the 33rd Annual Springfield Orchid Society Show. Hundreds of orchids will be on display in full bloom alongside vendors to purchase orchids from. The orchid doctor will also be there to help with things like repotting, debugging, or other plant care. The show will be held from 10 to 4 today and tomorrow at the Springfield Greene County Botanical Center on Scenic Avenue. Also today is the Eggstravaganza, an Easter egg hunt and activities for all ages. Families are invited to search for Easter eggs around the church property containing special treats, including stickers, small toys, and lots of candy. There will also be fun things to do like a bounce house, cornhole, cakewalk, and egg decorating. The festivities will be from 2 to 4 at the Praise and Worship Lutheran Church in Branson. The Logan Rogersville boys basketball team shocks Missouri with a big state semifinal win, and the Lady Bears square off with the #1 team in their bracket. Chris is next with sports.
And now, KY3 First Alert Weather.
We've noticed quite a bit of a haze out there on lots of our tower cameras. If you're sensitive to the air quality, this is just a heads up that we do have some of that more moderate air working its way into the Ozarks. The air quality index today is sitting at a 78, so that means that we have some of that moderate air, and that's just because we've seen quite a bit of controlled burns across the far eastern Ozarks, and winds today will help keep lots of that smoke around through at least 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. Of course, there is an elevated fire threat today just because of how warm those temperatures are going to get, so definitely avoid having the bonfire tonight and especially tomorrow. 90 today in Springfield and 89 for Branson, 91 for Harrison. And then our temperatures drop to the mid-60s by early tomorrow morning. Highs across the region on Sunday, once again running into the mid-80s to low 90s down into northern Arkansas. A dry cold front pushes in early tomorrow morning, and that helps our winds get very gusty out of the southwest and around 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting though occasionally as high as 30 miles per hour. So there is no doubt the elevated fire threat today, but watch what happens tomorrow when those winds are going to be a little bit gustier and those air conditions are going to be a bit more drier. Lots of us in that medium fire threat as well. Lots of sunshine to talk about through the rest of the day as well, with just a few upper level clouds later on this afternoon. We get into a very dry pattern through the middle of next week as well. Only about 1/10 of an inch of rain expected over the next 7 days in and around Springfield. 90 today, 86 tomorrow, 66 Monday, 65 Tuesday, 80 for Wednesday, and 86 Thursday.
All right, thanks, Garrett. Both the men's and women's NCAA tournaments continue today. The only question was, will the Lady Bears keep playing? Chris shows us how they fared in our sportscast.
Hey, I'm here at the Moody Center in Austin, Texas, where the Lady Bears played in the first round of the NCAA tournament yesterday against the Lady Longhorns. It's the Lady Bears' 18th NCAA tournament appearance, the culmination of a great season. The Longhorns looking every bit like the #1 team in the nation, beginning the game on a 12-0 run. This game not on ESPN yet, so I shot this Cayman Beckemeyer three-pointer myself that ended the run. But the Lady Bears were down 19-4 after one. Beckemeyer, the pride of Republic, hitting another three here in the second quarter. She leads the team with 14 points. Lady Bears down 44-12 at the half. Lainey Douglas scores 11 points to go with 8 rebounds. Maisha Washington also with 11 points. In the fourth quarter, West Plains grad Ashton Judd gets her first points. She finishes with 4. She came here to be a part of a championship team, and that is what Texas looked like on this day. Missouri State's season ends with an 87-45 loss. To the boys' state semifinals for the past 2 years, Rogersville anticipated a postseason matchup against Class 4 Goliath Vashon. The 5-time defending state champions, Raj head coach John Schaefer told his team, "Be careful what you wish for," because they got just that. To the first quarter, Chase Branham jukes a Wolverine on his way to the three-point line. He buries the shot from downtown. Raj up 9-5. The Indiana commit driving into the paint now. The ball pinballs off Vashon defenders and right back to Branham. He makes the bucket to extend the Wildcats' lead 23-12. It's part of a 9-0 run that bleeds into the second quarter. Marcus Moore takes a tumble but executes the pass to Sutton Shook. He lays it in as Rogersville stays ahead 27-14. The Wildcats get in front by as many as 19 right before halftime, and they keep powering forward from there. Titus Moore with the sweet fadeaway jumper, 21 points for him, a game-high 31 for Branham as the Wildcats advance to the state championship 74-60 and set a new show-me showdown record, shooting 73.5% from the field. To the Class 5 state semifinal between MICDS and the Hillcrest Hornets. The Rams charging ahead, up 12-2 in the first quarter. The Hornets sting right back, going on a run of their own from the top of the key. Kyrese Simpson drains the triple, scoring 8 unanswered. Javen Jones working from downtown. Hillcrest makes it a 1-point deficit, 14-13. That's when MICDS turns on the turbojets. The Rams' Tyler Ray with the hoop and the harm. In the final 7 minutes and 30 seconds leading to the break, MICDS goes on a 22-2 run, and the Rams never let up from there, winning 62-35. The offseason awaits the Lady Bears, and Logan Rogersville, well, the state championship awaits them today at 4 o'clock, and we will be covering it all. In Austin, Texas, I'm Chris Ninehouse. Have a great morning.
Now we're back with more news and weather right after this.
Springfield, Nissan, and Kia.
As America's birthday keeps getting closer, here's some more fun facts for you. In 1917, Loretta Walsh becomes the U.S. Navy's first female petty officer. In 1968, Royals is chosen as the new name of the KC American League franchise. In 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that states can't require one-year residency in a state to vote. And in 2006, the first ever tweet sent out by the Twitter founder and St. Louis native, Jack Dorsey, said, "Just setting up my Twitter." All right, well, Twitter, yep, there we go.
It's still Twitter. I don't care what everybody else
I don't call it X. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Well, your air conditioner is going to be working overtime today. I mean, it feels like we're just pressing fast forward and skipping spring altogether. I know the trees are still bare, but it's feeling like summer. 90 today for Springfield, and if we do hit 90, that will be our second earliest ever reading of 90 degrees on the temperature. 91 for Rogers and 91 as well for Harrison. So quite warm around the Ozarks today. Upper 80s for the eastern Ozarks, but that's still blowing lots of records out of the water. Mid 80s tomorrow across Springfield, a little bit cooler north of I-44 as a dry cold front slides in. We will notice a dip in our temperatures for for Monday and Tuesday, with highs returning to the mid 60s, but that's still above normal for this time of year. And then we're riding right back up the roller coaster at 80 for Wednesday and 86 for Thursday.
Roller coaster's right. We are all over the place. Well, say bonjour to National French Bread Day today. March 21st speaks to a long food tradition in the European nation. The baguette has UNESCO World Heritage status in Paris. Industry groups say although the French have been reducing their bread for consumption in recent years, it still holds a special meaning for the country. I mean, who doesn't like good fresh bread, you know, especially like a good baguette, nice and crispy and soft at the same time. So
yeah, they are very, very good. I haven't had one in a while though, but yeah, they're delicious. Maybe I'll have to have one today.
My wife has a decent recipe for a homemade one. It's definitely not what you'd get in a Parisian market necessarily, but I mean, hey, it's still fresh and it's still tasty, so I'll take it. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on Ozarks Today, the weekend edition. Be sure to download our free KY3 News app for breaking news and weather. We'll see you back here tonight at 6.